Welcome to the Business Empowerment Podcast, the show that keeps you in the know with what you need to know in business and technology and for yourself so you can grow. Welcome to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Rob Howes, and my co-host, Wilton Rogers, got insight for miles. Miles and miles. We'll give you what you need to know. Get ready for the Business Empowerment Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Business Empowerment Podcast. I'm your host, Rob Howes, and my co-host, Wilton Rogers. Wilton, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing well. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic, considering that we are doing a podcast.
Right.
I mean, come on. This is like officially our first recorded podcast officially. Ladies and gentlemen, I hear bells going off and whistles all over the place.
I hear them too.
The crowd goes wild.
We got a great guest, man. We got a great guest that has been shared with us by the wonderful platform of LinkedIn, Mr. Anthony Hall, Grandpa Stork, what they call him. How you doing, brother? Welcome to the Business Empowerment Podcast.
Mambo VP. As they say here around here on the streets, say what's happening, how's it going? And hey, man, it's great to be here online with you guys. And, we've met online, we've become brothers online and sharing our stories. And it's so nice to have an opportunity to support one another in this effort of, hopefully, telling some stories that people can relate to and they can see their own journeys in, and they can see that there's ways that, if Grandpa can do it, I can do it. And so, that's what I'm hoping to share with you guys and have some fun. And so thanks for having me on.
Well, man, listen, the pleasure is ours. And like you said, I mean, the goal, I believe, of humanity is each one teach one, each one reach one, however you can seek one. So whatever you have to give, to share, go ahead and do it. So, why don't you share, about who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do. Those are three good 1, 2, 3s, right? Who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do.
Okay.
And where Grandpa Stork started from. Where Grandpa Stork started
from.
Okay,
well, you know what? This is a good practice for my TEDx talk. Grandpa Stork talking about the Sentinels and the Dragon's Fire, and so really kind of this kind of transition, this journey began 16 years ago when I was blessed to witness the birth of my grandson. Our grandson, and watching our daughter become a mother. And as a father, I felt that I had, I'd ruined the chance that I had to be the type of father that I wanted to be, not to repeat the type of history that that I grew up with, but ended up repeating the same mistakes, and then to be there and with all my daughters, our daughters, brothers and sisters, and to welcome Nathaniel into the world, and then holding him in my arms, I really felt the gravity of that situation, and saying, I have a second chance. Mm-hmm. And so I'm holding Nathaniel in my arms, and I'm like transported through time. I mean, it's it's like you think about those moments where just the world opens up, and I'm thinking about my grandson 50 years in the future. What will his future be like? What will the world be like? And what opportunities will there be for his, as he's standing there holding his grandson? And so then it became, for me, important to become an active participant in his education. And so just thinking about, so it really had to go back and start thinking about, here I've been in the IT field and business development and sales in the, IT hardware and software development fields. And I started in 92, and I didn't have any mentors that looked like me, and no one to look up to as I'm, learning my way around in Silicon Valley and so forth. But I thought that after at that point in my career, I had to take a step back and look, what have I been doing? Have I tried to give back? Have I tried to mentor? Have I done anything to help others in this field that I've, just enjoyed such, wonderful success, be able to travel internationally and just, make friends around the world. But I hadn't done anything to give back. And so holding Nathaniel in my arms, then it was like, that's what I'm going to do. What can I do? So I had to think about what can I do, and think about education. I think about my own education. I don't know about y'all, but school was boring.
Does it
And
work?
Mhm.
I think I
having to
learned
add,
nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
I learned how
I mean,
not to
if,
learn. Hello? Okay.
well, I mean, if you can take me out, down in the creek or, on the football pitch or, climbing trees and you could teach class in that type of environment, oh, you got my
Mhm.
attention.
Yep.
And so
Exactly.
the thought was to see if, are there educational games that can open up the STEM, education and, help kids, find them engaging and fun. And I couldn't find anything out there. I mean, nothing that would appeal to me. And so I'm thinking, okay, let's see. That's all. I've always made up games,
Mhm.
and then but thinking about how would I create an application like a mobile app or a video game or something for my grandkids. And I'm thinking, well, I know people. I mean, I'm not a coder or programmer, but I've been in an industry long enough to understand the process and how it's done and the connections of and the things I don't know I could learn, but
Right.
it became a thing that okay, I think I can do better. And
Yeah.
so the idea then would be what kind of games would I like to play? And so that became the journey of not only helping make education engaging and fun, but then there was a thought about the future.
Yeah.
And as a technologist, as a being in the field, you're always looking ahead and you're seeing what the trends are. And for me, I'm looking 50 years in the future. I'm thinking, what will the world would be like? What we'll be looking at? What we'll be talking about? Where's the money? Where will technology be in that at that
What would it
time?
be? Yeah.
So
Thinking ahead.
and so for me, growing up in, I was 9 years old in I was 10 years old in 1969 when the Apollo program, took off and, put a man on the moon. And the thought was in the 2060s, humanity, so the former USSR and USA will be celebrating the centennials of their space programs, 100 years in space. And where will we be at that time, and what will they have accomplished, and what will be the state of space tourism and so forth. And so for me, my money was like, okay, I see that is mankind's next grand voyage. That's where the money is being put and being spent, and not just by government, but it's being led by private industry. And that is kind of a
Musk,
change in
Jeff
last
Bezos.
space rate.
Yeah.
The last,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So that's what we'll be talking about. That's what we'll be celebrating. And then the thought would be how to then make sure that not only our grandchildren, but what about kids in Africa? What about kids in other developing countries? What will their opportunities in the future be? Will the children of Africa just be a captive audience on mankind's next grand voyage to the stars? Or, can they become captains of industry? They can become innovators and leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
They can be,
And so
you saw that. You saw that. But it's interesting how you saw that, but you weren't able to articulate that until you lived enough, right? And then you felt the nudge.
Felt enough.
You
Yep.
felt the nudge.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and sometimes it takes that. It takes a seminal moment, a point in time that really kind of brings you back to where you are. That now you have a choice to do same old, or you're going to do something different. You're going to make a difference in that. And the nice thing about it is that I don't have to ask permission. I don't have to ask permission to develop a virtual reality dragon flying game for my grandkids or to found a space tourism industry startup, thinking about leaving a legacy for them that's me. I can say and do what I want, and I don't have to have any excuse.
Mm-hmm.
When people ask what is my why, I'm saying I just want a picture of my grandkids. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Why else would I be doing this? But I mean, you're sure. How do you have to make it sustainable too? And so understanding that, as a business, that our responsibility also is giving back. And how do we become part of the community? How do we empower and value and add lifetime value to whatever we produce and are sharing, and hopefully other people will embrace and as well.
Mm-hmm.
And putting that into a business plan, and modeling that is really, for me, it was an opportunity to see kind of the fast-paced way of product development and prototyping and business plan, and VC fundraising and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I wanted to take a more measured approach, a more mindful approach that really kind of aligned with, what my passions are, what, the real purpose is, and that I don't have to be in a hurry, that if you're going to do business, and I get to choose the people I want to do business with.
Right.
And I can go out searching, and I'm not constrained by time or distance, whether you go there directly or, we connect like you're doing right now.
Right.
We can connect meaningfully, and I think that's also part of it is that connection, is that reaching out, is that, and, when we think about, business empowerment, we can't do it all by ourselves. And it's really in that collaboration.
I was going to ask you, how do you keep yourself empowered? Because, the purpose of this podcast is we're covering business, we're covering technology, and we're covering leadership. We're covering those three entities all the time.
Okay.
So to do what you're doing, you got to stay empowered, because you're empowering. I see you empowering the kids.
Yeah.
You're empowering people on LinkedIn, empowering your family. Like, how do you, though, stay empowered?
Well, what's nice about it is that just by doing what I'm doing, and the fact that, so I've been traveling for 6.5 years. So I left Cleveland, Ohio, February of 2014, going for a 2-week trip to Tanzania to kind of start proving these concepts. Now, 6.5 years later, 17 countries, and still on the road. And part of that is, when you think about, what keeps you motivated, what keeps me empowered, is really that the things that we've done, and the memories and images and the videos and the lifetime friends that we make that can stay in contact with. Because on one hand, not only are they friends and colleagues and so forth, but they also are business partners. So I fulfilled kind of a twofold goal of, as I travel and go to different countries, whether it be Cambodia or India or Germany or Ethiopia or Kenya or Malawi and so forth and so on, that you meet organizations that are doing and have the same type of values, and they're really the ones who are on the ground really doing the work. And so you can go there and see what's happening on the ground and see how they're managing the business of helping others, and really the Rose of Education's goal is to help empower them. And so that becomes almost like a perpetual motion machine. I mean, that emotion, that compassion, that giving, it kind of gives back. And so
giving that gives back. That's pretty amazing.
Right. And so that continue to do, and really for me, it's been really being able to focus, continue to work in those areas that are important to defining what the culture and the vision of the business is. And so it's really about being mindful of your wins and of successes, and then I think like where we are now. Sometimes it's just about looking in the mirror and just having to laugh. You start moaning and complaining about the water or the toilet or this or that, and or the walk or sledging through the rain not as many paved sidewalks and roads where we're at in this part of Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. So it can be pretty rough and muddy, but that's how everybody lives. And
Anthony, what do you call yourself? Like, what do you call yourself in regards to the title? The
title, as far as I call myself a grandpa. That's really what I call myself. Just grandpa, and what's great about it, I've been on the road for 6.5 years, and
6.5.
And so That's cool. So I haven't seen my grandkids nearly enough. But what's kind of been beautiful about this experience is that as I travel around and go to these different schools, organizations, whether it be young kids or even college kids, that everybody calls me grandpa. Hey,
that's
grandpa,
amazing.
whether I'm in India or Nepal, and so that's also a way that kind of helps for me reaffirm and gives, that they talk about empowerment. It reminds me that you're doing all right. You're doing all right. So
8 years.
Stop your whinging. Stop whining. What's that? 6.5.
17. How many countries? 17.
Yes. Yeah. So,
My goodness.
and you
Okay.
know, what's
Oh,
interesting?
wait a minute. Well, let's stop right there for a second. 17 countries, 6.5 years. Okay, this is a great way to close our first segment up. We're gonna close with this episode. We're gonna close with you sharing what you learned, the greatest lesson you learned after 17 countries in 6.5 years of travel.
Yeah.
What is that? Number one
Okay,
lesson you learned.
that we're all are the same. We're all the same. We laugh at the same things. We have the same dreams and cares and concerns, and you know, I mean, I see people out here that I recognize them, you know, from back in North Richmond, California, or people hanging on the block. But yeah, no, we're all the same,
Yeah.
and we're all beautiful, and that's and especially you see the children's love for learning, and that's really been kind of amazing that I can be a part of that. But yeah, we all have the same story to tell,
We all
and
are the same,
yeah,
man. This is the
yeah,
universe, ladies and gentlemen. Uni means one, verse means song. This is one song, the whole thing. The
That's
whole
it.
thing. That's
you know
that's
it, you
phenomenal.
know it, you know it.
That's phenomenal. I love that, man. That's a great way to
All
close this
right.
segment. But make sure you watch the next episode. We're going to follow back up and continue this conversation with Mr. Hall, Grandpa Stork.
Yes.
That's me.
30 days to automate. In 30 days, you will automate a process from end to end. 2, you'll learn how to identify automation opportunities within your company. 3, you'll save money by automating a process that was done manually. And 4, you will create time for employees to showcase their true talents and skills on more value-added projects. And you'll do all this for free. Just go to scalethroughautomation.com/free and we'll show you how to get it done in 30 days. 30 days to automate.
Peace and
We're
love.
still here with my man, Anthony Hall, Grandpa Stork. So, man, we're talking about, you've been traveling 17 countries,
Yeah.
6.5 years. You gave us the business tips. We saw your reflection and the rebirth of who you are. It's really phenomenal. I love to open this episode up, man, with you because you mentioned something in the first conversation about the business aspect. You know, like you have this idea, but in order to take the idea to market, there's business that needs to be done. And in order if you have something that's impactful for the world, you got to get it out. In order to do that, you have to have somewhat of a business mind, right? You gotta put that down. So, like, tell me, you share like first of all, what is the best business decision you ever made? I think I can assume, but what's the best business decision you ever made, and then why is that?
Um, hmm. I'd say the best business decision I made was I think there's two. Well, there's top two. One was to go counter what everybody else was saying and take this trip to Dar es Salaam. And even though it's what ended my marriage at the time, and so I mean it was that impactful. But I just had to go. I just knew that it was, even though I failed to articulate it and at that early stage, and you're kind of overwhelmed with this vision that you have, and so. But I think for me the best thing was just to follow through, to trust and believe no matter what anybody else said, and that that at some point you have to stand up and say, no matter what else everyone else is seeing, that this is the path that I see for myself and for who I want to be in this world, and that recognizing that it's not for me, but in who it really was for. And I think that the one that comes the next closest one is the Rose of Education was started as a LinkedIn open group in September of 2010.
So you said
And
the
that
Rose
one,
Education.
Rose of Education organization, so TREO. So that's the name of the company I started, the Rose of Education. Really for me about the language of education. Rose is a symbol for me is of language, and that a rose itself, it speaks many different languages, especially when you think about science, technology, engineering, math, art, philosophy, religion, history, the rose is conversant, and everyone recognizes what that is. And so, can we make education like that? Can education be, presented beautifully to everyone, and that they take from it and learn from it? And so I found it. So I started the Rose of Education as a way to kind of always remind me about what, what this journey, what this vision is about. But then in thinking about, okay, I know I'm not an educator, I'm not a game developer, talk about space tourism, so there's a lot that I needed to learn. And so creating the Rose of Education Open Group on LinkedIn allowed me then to create a platform and a place for those folks who were smarter than me to meet. I could, have conversations, reach out and have conversations, hook up, connect, talk, and invite them to join. And, so basically what we're doing now, and about connecting and reaching out, and how to grow, your audience, or grow your followers. And so for me, it was just doing this in a, with a purpose of, getting those people who, that I could talk to, who could have given me good advice, and ended up, right now we have about 600, members, and it becomes a vast pool of talent, of subject matter and domain experts that I've been able to call upon over the years. And so
so
600
really, members where?
What's that?
You have 600 members where?
On the Rose of Education Organization Open Group.
Okay.
So I think it's like 564.
Okay.
And so really the story we tell about the Rose of Education, that once upon a time. So this is a story I read from the grandkids. Tell them about this old game, dragon flying game that we're developing. The story begins: once upon a time, in a garden of technology, there grew a rose of education. And so that garden of technology was LinkedIn. And so I start the story, even including in the story just kind of the history of the Rose of Education. But I think, we went with 1 and 2. Let's just have a third one. So another third tip is storytelling. It's so important to include our story. It's so important to include our story. And the concept then for me, for the Rose of Education is can we use story and use that narrative and use that as a concept for developing an investor presentation or a business plan, and just turn that whole kind of narrative on its head, and just you tell the story about dragons and flying and superheroes and everything, but within that are the market demographic, the market segmentation, the lifetime business value, the MVP, all those numbers are included in that story.
In that story,
links or something. But
fantastic.
And that's the kind of vision I have for what would really love to do for the Rose of Education, creating a business plan, or kind of a mixed media, really a type of business plan that you interact with and engage with. And so, I think, so those for me were important, but, so not, believing in yourself and really trusting your gut and trusting what your vision is.
Yeah.
Then being able to collaborate and reach out to partners like we have. But it's really so important that we use this medium that we have, like you guys are doing.
How about to say that's how Wilson and I connected. Like we connected on LinkedIn. I did 30 days of videos, 2018, the first one. That's how we met. And so Anthony, you and I met on the second one. It's so interesting.
Right.
And people that I've met on LinkedIn have been really my foundational relationships. It's really, and I have not met in person
yet.
Any of them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's gonna happen. We're gonna have to have a party.
Yeah. Right. Crazy though, but that just goes to show you that there's no limits. Where we are limitless. We use our minds. We use our minds. We can connect with each other. That kind of leads into the next question. This.
Well, you
go ahead.
You can create an empire just like this. We're proof of that. We're creating something that outside of where we used to have to be in the same area, now it could be around the world and create something dynamic. And
right, and it's we're. I mean, it's like these different organisms are setting down roots, and we're going to be able to connect and interact, through the power of the of technology.
Yeah.
But you can establish real connections, real roots, real bases, and they become really components in the infrastructure or foundation of, like you said, that empire, that pyramid. And for me, so when I think about the 17 countries that I've traveled to, those are part of that platform. Think about building a space tourism industry startup, developing operations in education, entertainment, and exploration. And so, it's going to take a big international platform. And so that's how I viewed it. And that's the part of traveling to all these different areas. And really, what the concept for that really is that, how to empower these young folks and young geniuses in these areas that are, underserved.
Yep.
And so let's make them part of a project to build a sustainable off-world colony. So the Eden 3 Mars colony is a project. So it's going to be our flagship project, and so we've already got the date, and the inauguration party is November 24th, 2060. And so that's when that'll be the 50th anniversary party of Treo.
I think you're gonna have to run that commercial back one more time, because I don't think people really got that. Okay, go ahead.
Right.
Okay. All right. So folks, so save the date, save the start date, because there's going to be a party happening November 24th, 2060. It's going to be Treo's 50th anniversary party and the inauguration of the Eden 3 Mars colony, a sustainable off-world habitat created and designed by teams of young geniuses in Cambodia, India, Africa, and all these developing countries who are putting their solution together, and that we're going to build it, and we're going to launch that during the 50-year anniversary. And that will be kind of like the first phase of that vision, for the future for the organization and what it's really meant to be. And that that these young people will be empowered to dream beyond the mountaintop or beyond their circumstances, that they can be part of that they can see their future in the stars. They don't have to be left behind, and that they can see that it's going to be about imagination, but also communication, and really the type of really serious application of the creativity to innovate.
I like that.
And so for me, it was about so for me, what Treo wants to be, we intend, so the question that we want to answer is the question that I had was this: what kind of games and sports will humanity play in space? So that's the question. And so we want Treo to be the answer to that question. And so that's we talk about these games that we've been developing, Dragonfly, that's really part of our effort to think about, okay, well, we'll be free in these, low to zero gravity, environments, and be able to build amphitheaters and, to play, all kind of games. And why not, I'm thinking about what kind of, I want a Silver Surfer surfboard. I want to be cruising around on something like that in space. But what would that take to build? What would that, and if you really want to fly something like that, what would it take in the human body? And so what we learn from that, and what can we teach from that? We start learning about, physics and inertia and gravity, and that this could then using this Dragonfly as a bridge for learning for these kids in these areas where, you can't bring a VR game or system in there, but if with a little imagination, you can help them suspend disbelief and put them on a couple of coconuts and say, now you're on the back of a dragon. And that's part of that whole story, telling the story of going from the dragon's egg to the space egg, or to the Eden 3 Mars colony, how that story is unfolding, how we get, from this kernel, from the seed, like the seed of a mustard tree or of an oak, so the dragon's egg is really meant to embody that, symbolize that, from that dragon's egg, the Eden 3 Mars colony was also going to emerge as the outgrowth of this effort. And so we hope to have a big impact on the world, and we're having fun and have fun.
Yeah, you're having a blast
along the way.
you kind of messed up my next question, Will. And I was going to ask him, so how are you thinking about using technology to enhance your business? And he's already using technology for years now. So
Yeah, he has 50 hair son on everybody, right?
next question.
That's it, right?
They say, the best way to predict the future is to create it.
You know it.
And we'll figure that's the future we want to create. We want to create a dragon flying empire that we want to change. Just not only, and really it was so. We talk about flying, but we use flying as a metaphor for really, conquering our fear of falling.
Yeah,
failing.
I wrote that
We can gain resilience.
Let me write that too. It was flying. Yeah.
Oh man, that was man. See, that's what you should open up with, brother. We're all coming out too.
While you was talking, I said, I'm gonna throw this in the episode, man, because that was one of my favorite songs to do. And anything has to do with kids, empower young people, man. I'm in.
Yeah.
Oh man, you rocked too, brother. You rocked it. I was like, oh my goodness, it was just. And so I've been using that for my workouts too. So you hear it a few times when I'm doing my my daily workouts.
I hear you.
Speaking of your workouts, okay. See, when I'm scanning through LinkedIn, right, and I see something pop up, Papa Starks pop up, and I see a video of a grandpa's, quote, working out and fit, you don't see that very often.
Yeah.
You stand out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, if I'm scanning through there, right, and I see something like that, because that caught my attention. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I know who I need to look into in order to keep, to look good, right? What would be the message you would say to, if I'm just scanning through and say, hey, stop. This is more than just the video and just me working out. I have a message behind this. What kind of message that would you want someone to stop and listen to listen to your video?
Well, really, it's about unlocking our potential. And so I put it as awaken the dragon. Awaken the dragon inside that we can be whatever we want to believe. Just like Rob was singing in his song. And that's really what it's about. And it's really about having that confidence in ourselves that, that there's a power that we have inside. And we just have to reach in, dig in, and, dive into ourselves to find it. And the workout for me is a way to tap into that. And, find myself getting stronger. But it's also serves the purpose of me establishing myself as, as far as, as the poster grandpa for what this workout can accomplish. And so going through these subsequent 120-day challenges is a way for me to build up content. But then, because ultimately I want to create a program, a dragon flying superhero workout that will be part of the game. So this is all connected to what,
awesome.
What the purpose is and behind, so really it's really about, how can I create as many avenues when we talk about empower myself, how can I create as many avenues as I can for what I'm doing to feed into this larger vision? And so it's about, seeing what opportunities are out there, how do they fit? How does this, 3 years ago, I took on a position as a training coordinator for a cybersecurity nonprofit training and certification organization. And that has led to so many other opportunities, and ultimately that becomes part of the vision, because we recently gave I gave a virtual talk on a webinar about the cyber guardians of the galaxy, the future of cybersecurity in space, and that cybersecurity is one of the critical elements that has to be considered at the beginning of the development. All these people jumping into the space industry, space tourism, space, asteroid mining and so forth, but protecting that infrastructure, protecting the data and all those things related to cybersecurity are really a part of successful development of any venture, and will yield investor and shareholder and confidence as well.
Yeah.
And so even with that, I've been able to see, okay, I can I can merge that into what I'm doing because it's the roads of education, and this is
Yes,
about education,
man.
and this is about the future. And cybersecurity is another
Yes,
area that is
better
a
believe
growing
growing
opportunities in the future
fast,
as well. So
growing fast.
growing fast, man.
Hmm.
So yeah, so it's and but I think that's part of it, and I still want to be run. I still want to, I see you out there running on the football field, Rob, and I'm like, oh man, I want to be out there. I remember being out there with my boys and running and jumping and falling on the ground. But like now, like, oh man, probably break something. But
Yeah, listen,
right
but
now,
those
but
falls are
yeah.
far few between right now, brother. So just so you know, those falls they've been less and less and less, and now you only see the fall on a certain type of turf. Okay, so
Yeah.
I got it all figured out how to swing out.
How to maximize it
Oh, you
out.
got it, brother. Oh man. Yeah.
So
So
yeah, man. I want to close this episode off with you sharing. You've already shared a lot of words of wisdom and nuggets, but I want to close it off with you giving some final words that would empower our listeners. And obviously, this whole conversation has done that. But now let's just kind of make it concise. You share some final
okay.
tips, man. On some final words
Okay.
on
So
empower these folks.
okay. So what I'll share with you then is the Litany of the Sentinels. And so this is
Say it again.
a superhero game, the Litany of the Sentinels.
Okay.
So the Litany of the Sentinels is like a mantra, a meditation, as part of the exercise workout. And so in the dragon flying game, it's what these Sentinels recite to themselves to remind them of why they've appeared. And so the story begins that the earth is in peril. Humanity's fate is uncertain. The Sentinels appear at this time to awaken the children of this sun to take their place as sentinels of these times, to lead humanity into the future with compassion, humility, and integrity. And so then so the Litany of the Sentinels so that's the reason they're here. And so this is how the Sentinels train and for exercising their powers, their responsibility over their gifts. And so it goes this way, that the earth may be one with the universe. Humanity may be one with the earth. The children of this sun awaken that we may all ascend, and may compassion reign. May compassion reign in all hearts. We offer ourselves, we give ourselves, we commit ourselves. We commit ourselves to walk in compassion, humility, and integrity. We are the sentinels of these times, and we stand committed. And so that's part of the workout. And so as the kids are balancing and
all
training,
you need is a hip hop beat underneath that thing, man.
Dude, that's strong.
we're gonna have that.
Ooh, I love that.
That was nice.
That, man. Man, that's
yeah,
That's
but
a
it's
great
really about
ending.
it. But it's really about dream. I'll say for the last thing: dream big, play hard, give back, and have fun. And that's for me been the key.
Say it again.
Dream big, play hard, give back, have fun. Dream big, play hard, give back, have fun. I'd say dream big, play hard, give back, have fun. Because we got it here. We're going.
Hey,
How dare you break that down, Rob?
That's big, man.
That's awesome.
I love that, Anthony Hall. Hey, how can folks find you? What's the best place for people to catch up with you?
Oh man, I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. But really the best place to find me is on LinkedIn. And so Anthony Hall, or just do a search. On YouTube is Grandpa Stork.
Grandpa Stork. That's what I say.
You can just Grandpa Stork.
Put that out there. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and so
that's
just
the
for people for people to know what a Stork stands for. Stork is part of the company and branding and part of the identity of what we've been building. So Stork is an acronym for sports technology, optimizing reflex kinetics. So it's really about using technology and games to get people moving, and that we can introduce these concepts through language. And so we're building also this kind of language-based naming convention that we can describe our IP and also protect our IP, because it's all based on acronyms and so we're having fun creating games so that's part of the story. But so Grandpa Stork, they'll find me.
Good stuff,
where can you actually find opportunity to sit down with someone like this and be able to advance your knowledge from here to here in 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's amazing, man. So it's been
Yeah.
an honor and a privilege, honestly, man. This has been a gold nugget for us for sure. And
Wisdom,
Oh,
brother.
brother.
yeah. So thank you, man.
Hey, it's been fun. It's been fun, man, my friends. And so, hey, we look forward to doing this again. And
Absolutely.
we'll have to do a workout video now. We have to and see about
Yeah.
get you guys some dragon's eggs, and we
Yeah.
do this virtual workout video. So yeah, we'll have to have to talk about
Yeah. Let's
that.
get it,
All right.
man. Anthony Hall, Grandpa Stork, Flying High, brother. Thank you for being on
Thank
the
you.
Business Department podcast.
Thank you, Rob Wilton. I really appreciate it. And listen, you guys be blessed and have a wonderful rest of the week. All right.
You
Be
too,
safe
man.
As well. Thank you.
All right.
Welcome to the Business Empowerment Podcast, the show that keeps you in the know with what you need to know in business and technology and for yourself so you can grow. Welcome to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Rob House, and my co-host, Wilton Rogers, got insight for miles. Miles and miles. We'll give you what you need to know. Get ready for the Business Empowerment Podcast.